Simon Decker sat at his desk, thinking of what to write. He wanted to write a detective story, but he could only think of the first sentence.
The wooden stairs made a strange noise when he walked on them. That's how he found their secret hiding place.
Simon was only 30 when he left the army, but he didn't like his job. He was a bomb expert. He worked on a bomb which would put people to sleep rather than kill them. He thought this would be the best way to win a war without hurting other people. Soon he disliked the whole idea of war. He loved reading detective stories when he was a boy, and he had enough money to live without working for some time. So he decided to leave the army and try to become a writer. His dog, Rocky, was at his feet. Suddenly the dog lifted his head and listened, then ran to the kitchen door.
What is it, Rocky?
Simon heard a woman scream, then a gunshot. There was another shot and the sound of glass breaking. Simon fell to the floor and crawled towards the kitchen. Rocky was in there, barking and jumping at the kitchen door. Simon held Rocky in his arms to keep him quiet. Then he listened. The car door opened and closed, then drove quickly away. The shots came from the house next door, Gerald Dunning's. Simon opened the kitchen door to look outside, but he couldn't see anything. Rocky ran out and went behind Gerald's house.
Rocky! Rocky, come over here!
Simon followed the dog to the back of Gerald's house. He found Rocky smelling a red scarf on the ground below a broken window. The window was open, but there was a hole in the top, probably from the bullet. Rocky picked up the scarf and ran away.
Rocky!
Simon was about to run after the dog when he looked through the window. He saw Gerald's body lying on his living room floor. He ran to the front door and went inside. There was blood on Gerald's chest and on the floor next to him. Simon put his fingers on Gerald's neck to see if he was alive, but he was not. Simon used Gerald's phone to call the police. He used a kitchen towel to hold it, because he knew that the police would look for fingerprints.
Emergency services?
I want to report a murder. The address is 222 Westbury Lane.
One moment, please.
While he waited, he saw something shining near a living room table. It was small and round. Then someone answered the phone.
Detective Freeze, how can I help you?
Yeah, at last. It's about a murder.
Take it easy, sir. We have your address and we are coming there now. Could you give me your name?
Yes, it's Decker. Simon Decker.
Are you a relative?
No, I'm his neighbor.
How did you find the body?
I was walking past the window, and I saw him lying on the floor through his kitchen window.
Are you in the house now?
Yes.
Please, wait outside until the police arrive, and do not touch anything. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Before Simon hung up the phone, he heard a click. It sounded like the telephone bug he once used in the army. He took off the earpiece to see if he was right, and he was. There was a telephone bug in there. Simon waited outside Gerald's house for the police. He had the bug in his pocket, thinking of why someone would kill Gerald. He knew Gerald was a scientist, and he thought he worked on animals to find cures for illnesses. Why would someone want to kill him for that? 4 police cars, an ambulance, and 1 black car drove up to the front of Gerald's house. The police and ambulance drivers ran towards Simon.
Are you the one who called?
Yes.
Is there anyone else inside?
No.
Check all the back and side doors. You two, come with me.
The ambulance drivers followed the policeman inside. A tall man wearing dark sunglasses and a long black coat left the black car and walked towards Simon. He took off his sunglasses. His eyes were small and dark.
You must be Mr. Decker.
Yes, I am.
I'm Detective Freeze. Pleased to meet you. Is there somewhere we can go to talk?
Yes, I live right here, but wouldn't you like to see the body?
My men will give me a report. Then I'll look things over. I'm interested in what you saw.
Simon took Detective Freeze into his house. As he talked to him, the detective looked around the house. Decker didn't like it.
Are you looking for something, Detective?
No. Is there something you don't want me to see?
Of course not. But I thought you'd want to have a look around Gerald's house, not mine.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Decker?
I don't have a job at the moment.
Detective Freeze saw the paper Simon was writing his story on. He read it.
Their secret hiding place, Mr. Decker?
That's a story I'm working on.
A writer, are you?
Not exactly.
When Detective Freeze stopped asking questions, he gave Simon a card with his name on it.
Call me if there's something you've forgotten to tell me.
Detective Freeze and the police left before Simon remembered the phone bag in his pocket. Rocky came home with the red scarf in his mouth, and Simon said,
Great. Now Freeze will think I tried to hide the bug in the scarf.
Simon picked up the phone to call Detective Freeze. It was sunset, so the shadows from the trees outside his window were long and thin. He thought he saw something move in the shadows. So he put the phone down and went outside. There was yellow police tape around the outside of Gerald's house, but Simon saw nothing else. He looked again inside the window where he first saw Gerald lying on the floor. The living room looked more empty because it was getting dark. Then he saw something shining under the living room table. No one was outside at that time, so Simon went back into Gerald's to see what it was. It was a round, gold button from someone's coat. He couldn't understand how the police missed it. He walked towards the back door, but he heard someone opening the front door. He hid in a corner of the kitchen, behind a cupboard near the fridge. 2 men were in the next room. One was Detective Freeze. He heard them talking to each other.
Go upstairs and look through everything. I want you to find that formula. I'll check down here.
Detective Freeze came into the kitchen and looked in all the drawers and cupboards. Simon was hidden in the shadow of the cupboard he was next to, but Detective Freeze almost saw him when he opened the fridge. The fridge door was right next to his face. He heard the man from upstairs enter the kitchen. He had a hard, deep voice, as if he smoked a lot of cigarettes, or he had a cold.
Did you find anything?
Freeze closed the fridge and walked away.
No, nothing. We've got to find that girl. She must have it.
We have our phone bugged, but we haven't heard anything.
What about her roommate, the waitress?
She works at a place called Tivoli's. We have someone watching her.
Let's bring her in for questioning. And bring that guy from next door, Decker. I think he knows more than he's telling us.
Detective Freeze and his man left. Simon waited a little before he came out from behind the cupboard. He realized Freeze was involved in the murder, so he couldn't call him. He sat thinking of what to do when he smelled something like rubbish. He was sitting next to a dustbin, and inside it, near the top, was a box of matches with Tivoli's written on it. He thought of going there to speak to the waitress. Maybe she could tell him something useful. Tivoli's was a small restaurant with 10 small tables and chairs. There was only one waitress, and Simon saw that her name was Sylvie from the name tag on her shirt. She was about 27 years old, with short brown hair. Her face was round and bright, but she looked sad when she came to Simon's table.
I'd like the fish and chips and a beer. Oh, and can I borrow a pen and a piece of paper? I'm a writer, and I just thought of something.
Sylvie gave Simon a pen and a piece of paper, and then she went into the kitchen. There were 4 men sitting around the bar. All of them were alone. 3 of them were older, and they looked like Tivoli's regular customers, because they all knew the bartender. The 4th man was younger, about 30 years old. He had his coat on, and there was a tall glass of cola in front of him. He looked up every now and then to look at Sylvie. Simon decided that he was one of Freeze's men. Simon stopped writing, then stood up to go to the men's room. He walked past the young man at the bar and dropped the piece of paper on the ground. He picked it up and gave it to the man at the bar.
Excuse me, but I think you dropped this.
The man took it, and Simon went into the men's room. The note said, "I know where Gerald Dunning's formula is. Meet me in the men's room." The man put the note in his coat pocket, drank some more of his cola, then quietly walked to the men's room. When he walked through the door, Simon hit him on the back of the neck and knocked him to the floor. He took the man's identity card and his gun. When Simon left the men's room, he saw Sylvie walking into the kitchen. He followed her inside and took her arm.
I need to talk to you.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Take your hands off me!
It's about your roommate. Does this look like hers?
He showed Sylvie the red scarf.
Where did you get this?
At Gerald's. Now, let's get out of here. It's not safe.
Outside
Tivoli's, Simon told Sylvie to get into his car.
I can't leave my job. What will I tell them? Besides, who are you anyway?
I'm Simon Decker. I'm Gerald's neighbor. I just knocked out someone who was watching you. I'm sure he has something to do with Gerald's murder. I think your roommate is in a lot of trouble. You probably are too. Now, you can either get in the car and help me find your roommate, or you can go back to work and hope she doesn't get killed.
Rocky was in the back seat of Simon's car. He jumped up and kissed Sylvie's face. She was surprised and screamed.
Hey!
Rocky, sit down. I'm sorry. That's my dog, Rocky. He doesn't like to be left alone.
They drove away from Tivoli's, and Simon told Sylvie everything he knew about Gerald's death.
So I think your roommate, Beth, might be in trouble.
I know. I haven't seen her in 2 days. She told me she and Gerald worked on something that might be dangerous.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Do you know where she might be?
I think so.
Well, tell me how to get there.
Sylvie and Simon drove far out of town into the mountains. They turned off the main road and began driving along a small dirt road. It was surrounded by tall, thick trees. Beth's uncle had a cabin in the mountains, and Sylvie thought Beth might be there. It was very dark, and they could only see 10 feet in front of them.
Are we getting close?
I'm sure it's around here somewhere.
Someone fired a gun and broke one of Simon's headlights. He stopped the car, and they got down on the floor. Another shot hit one of the car's tires. Sylvie opened the door to get out.
Hey, what are you doing? Get back in here.
Beth! It's me, Sylvie!
Sylvie was calling Beth's name from behind the car door. She looked up, but she couldn't see anything in the dark. Finally, she heard Beth's voice come from the darkness.
Sylvie, tell the man you're with to get out of the car with his hands in the air.
Simon, do what she says.
Simon got out of the car with his hands in the air. He couldn't see anyone, but he heard someone walking towards him. A short woman with red hair, holding a shotgun, walked into the light coming from the car's headlight. She pointed the gun at Simon.
Don't move! Beth, it's all right! He's a friend of Gerald's!
Beth reached inside Simon's coat pockets while he held his hands up. She found the gun and identity card that belonged to the man at Tivoli's. She read the card.
Gerald never knew a Terence Tolliver government agent.
I took that from the man following Sylvie. Look in my back pocket. I'm Simon Decker, Gerald's next-door neighbor.
She found his identity card with his picture.
What are you two doing out here?
I was worried about you, Beth. Simon came to Tivoli saying you were in trouble. I didn't know where you were.
Rocky jumped out of the car, and Beth pointed her gun at him.
Don't! That's my dog, Rocky. He doesn't like to be left alone.
That sure is a nice-looking dog.
It was a man's voice, coming from behind them. A big man with long grey hair, a moustache and beard, walked out of the darkness from behind the car with a shotgun in his hands. He began to pet Rocky.
This is my Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou, Simon Decker. And you know Sylvie.
Pleased to meet you. Hello again, Sylvie.
Hi, Lou.
You two look as if you're waiting for trouble.
Well, when Beth here told me what happened in town, I didn't want to take any chances.
I agree. Is there somewhere we can go and talk?
Sure. My cabin's just a few hundred feet from here.
You must do something about my car.
Drop it up. We can fix that up later. I taught Beth how to shoot. We didn't want to hurt you. We just wanted to slow you down.
Thank God for that.
Detective Freeze sat at the head of a long table, with many of his men sitting around it. They all had dark suits and papers in front of them, except for one. He was Gerald and Beth's boss, Dr. Leenham. He wore a white scientist's coat and had messy white hair. He wore thick glasses. He looked very nervous as Detective Freeze spoke.
Doctor, what are you telling the people at the lab about Dunning and Morgan?
I've told them they left the country to do research on their new project.
Good.
But I can't keep saying that. Mr. Dunning is dead, for God's sake.
Don't worry, Doctor. When the time comes, we'll say Mr. Dunning had a very bad car accident. For now, say he's out of the country. Have we heard anything on Decker or Sylvie Collard?
Since they left Tivoli's together, we haven't been able to find them. We know Decker drives a white 1994 Rover. The police have pictures of both of them. We've told them we want to pick them up immediately. We have people watching for them at the airport, bus and train stations. So far, they haven't left town, unless they are using other names.
And what about Beth Morgan?
We haven't found her either. Her mother is waiting outside, and we hope she can help us out. Would you like to talk to her alone?
Yes, but Doctor, I want you to stay with me. I want the rest of you to find information on the relatives and friends of Sylvie Collard, Simon Decker and Beth Morgan.
The men got up and left the room, except the doctor and a short man who sat quietly next to Detective Freeze when he spoke to the others. Everything about him looked perfect. His hair, his suit, his face, except for a button on his jacket. It was different from the others. Detective Freeze spoke in a low and very serious voice.
Follow what I say, Doctor. We don't want to frighten this woman, but we want her to think her daughter is in danger.
Don't you think this is going too far? I don't want to be part of this.
Doctor, you also have a family. 2 children in college, I believe. If you want to work as a scientist again, I suggest you do what I tell you. You can't send your kids to college if you don't have a job.
Or if you're not alive.
It was the first time the small man spoke. He was the man with Detective Freeze at Gerald's house, the night Simon was hiding behind the cupboard. His deep voice scared the doctor.
How right you are, Mr. Connors.
The door to the office opened, and a small, nicely dressed woman with silver hair tied up on her head entered.
Mrs. Morgan, please sit down.
Thank you.
I think you know Dr. Leenham.
Only by name. How do you do, Doctor?
Mrs. Morgan, we don't want to frighten you, but we're having trouble finding Beth. She's working on a very important project, and she seems to have disappeared.
Oh, she's not in danger, is she? Tell me the truth. I want to know.
No, not at all, Mrs. Morgan. This project was very important. We think she has gone somewhere to be alone. Do you know where she might be?
No, I can't imagine. She never goes off on her own.
Does she know anyone living out of town?
The only place I can think of is my brother's, but I don't think she's there. She couldn't do any work out there.
Where?
It's in the mountains, away from everything. No, she wouldn't go there.
Could you tell us where it is?
Well, it doesn't have an address. It's a cabin in the forest.
Detective Freeze and Mr. Connors looked at each other.
Could you show us where it is?
I'll try, but it's been years since I went there myself.
The cabin was dark inside, as all the windows were covered in black cloth. No one could see in. There was a wood fire burning in a round stove in the middle of the room. They were all sitting around it.
Beth, what is this formula everyone's looking for?
Everyone?
Well, I went into Gerald's after the murder, and
Beth covered her face with her hands. When she pulled her hands away, there were tears on her face, but she tried to hold them back.
I hoped it wouldn't be true. I never knew since I jumped through the window whether he was dead or not. Go on. Tell me what you know. Now it's even more important that I finish the work he started.
Simon started from the beginning. He told them about the shots and the scream. He showed them the scarf and the bug.
I saw the detective looking for the formula in Gerald's house. He said he wanted you. Then he said he wanted to watch my moves, so I thought something must be going on.
But why did you go to Tivoli's? Why are you here? How do I know you don't want the formula?
I don't even know what the formula is. Gerald was a friend. When you see someone you know killed, and you think the police had something to do with it, you begin to worry. I'll leave if you want me to, but I know about people who want to hurt others. I was a bomb expert in the army.
Beth looked at her uncle.
He could help with the video. You know I should stay here in case they come looking for you.
All right, if you think it's a good idea. Now, here's what's happening. Gerald and I worked on something to help Gerald's brother, Adam.
His brother?
Yes. Gerald has a brother in hospital. He's very ill. He thinks everyone is trying to hurt him.
Why would someone be trying to hurt him?
Nobody is trying to hurt him. Let me tell you what's going on. We have found a formula which can make people who are ill think that everything is all right and that nobody can hurt them. Well, since this happened, the government became interested. They began sending people to ask about our work.
But why?
The night before Gerald was shot, he found some papers in the office of our boss, Dr. Leenham. The government wanted to use the formula as a weapon against their enemies. They thought they could do anything they wished to a person who thought everything was okay.
Why did they kill Gerald?
I don't think they wanted to. Gerald called me and told me to come to his house and to bring a bag of clothes because we had to leave the country. When I got to his house, a short man in a dark suit arrived. When he said he wanted the formula, Gerald fought with him. The man had a gun. It went off, and I saw Gerald fall to the ground. Then he aimed the gun at me. I screamed. I was near an open window, so I jumped through it. He fired at me, but he missed. Well, you know the rest.
Where is the formula now?
Don't worry about that. Now, if you want to help, you'll have to do exactly what I say.
Simon took out the gold button he still had in his pocket.
I think this came from the killer's jacket when Gerald fought with him. We could use it as evidence.
First, we have to visit Gerald's brother. We must take the formula to him. I don't really care about anything else.